select a few teeth and then delete the unwanted teeth. So I'm going to go up here and we're going to choose teeth, this one and this one, and we're going to then delete unwanted teeth. And then following that, I'm going to view this from the top view, use the G key to grab and the R key to rotate, and the S key to scale it a little bit. And then from viewing from the top, I'm going to view it from the side. And then I'm going to just simply take the blue arrow and move this down into the gap. All right, that's looking good. Maybe S to scale it a bit, and that's looking good. So then what we're going to do is we need to mark out the nerve. So, but before I mark out the nerve, actually we're going to mark out the nerve first. So yeah, mark the nerve. I'm going to 3D Slicer, and now we're going to use the Pano. This is the other add-on, and we're going to then go into the dentistry, and we're going to be looking for Pano. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to select this scan that we're working on, and then we're going to make a line, a curve. So I'm going to scroll through the slices, the lower model, say midsection of the lower model, and we're going to be using the open curve, and then simply left click a few spots. That should do it, and then right click to get out of that. Then what we're going to do, yeah?
Michael,
is there a question?
Yeah, there's just a small rectangle kind of thing in your screen. I don't know whether this is Zoom related. Yeah, you're moving it as we speak.
That's the Zoom window.
Oh, can you move that for some
Okay,
reason?
is that?
Yeah, that's fine. It's in that white area. Even better.
All right, I've just minimized it even more.
Okay.
So we're going to be selecting the curve. The default is a C. So if you add more curves, it'll be C1, C2, etc. So that's a C, and I'm going to select it. And now when we do this, we can, as soon as we move the slider here, it'll move along the path. And we're going to move this now where the nerve is, and then we're going to be focusing on the tangential angle. And I want this to be around about 90 degrees. So you can enter this. And that's because we want to see this from the top view. And then we're going to move the angle a little bit like this until we can see the nerve canal. So yeah, we can sort of make it out. And just adjust these until you get a good view. And ideally, when I look at it, yeah, so yeah, it's looking good.
Just a question. You've got another transverse on 17 degrees. Can you take that away, or is that possible?
This is the one that slides. I'm not quite sure what this one is doing here at the moment.
All right, no worries.
All right. Look, as long as we can see the nerve now, let's just move this. So I'm focusing now on the green slice here. So we want to shift this so that we can get a good view. Yeah, that's sort of okay. Here we go. This is good. So from here, we're going to go to our segment editor and we're going to add a new segment. And in the segment editor, we can draw tubes. So look for the tubes. So this is here, draw tubes. And we're going to be looking for where the nerve exits. So draw tube, and we're going to set this to say 1.5 millimeters. And then following that, we're going to click on one of these fiducials, and we're going to put it in there. And then with a mouse wheel, we're going to move this, and then we can just simply trace this out. And then right click when you've finished. Then what we're going to do is we need to apply this. All right, so this makes a segment out of the nerve, and you can color this or whatever, but for now we're just going to leave it as it is. And I want to make this, remember I first said we've got segments and we've got models. So we're going to convert this into a model. So I'm going to click on segmentation, and here we're going to click on the models and we're going to export. This means now that in our 3D slicer, in our models, this is the models menu, we've got one called segment 1. We can name this as well if we want to, but we don't need to do this now. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the slicer link, and we want to transfer this nerve across to the other side. So we're going to start the server, and we're going to connect the server on this side, and we're going to add our model. And this will bring our nerve into our blender, and we can see that exactly over here. All right, so this sort of completes the nerve. Are there any questions so far? From
I'm
here,
just
we're going to go
gonna
into the planning.
just a minute. I'm just going to unmute everybody. If you've got any questions. Okay, so it's all good, Mike.
All right, so now we're going to go into the implant planning. So it's a good habit just to close all of these menus, because we don't want to get confused. So we're going to go implant planning, and there's two stages. So the first stage is we're going to get an initial placement in Blender, and then we're going to fine tune it in 3D Slicer. And I've been asked many times, can we move the implants in 3D Slicer? And the answer is we wouldn't want to, because we have entire assemblies around the implants. We've got the barrier, we've got the cylinder and everything. So consider this as a viewing platform in 3D Slicer, and we're doing the work in Blender. In future versions, we're going to be bringing all of the 3D Slicer into Blender. So we've got then we don't really need 3D Slicer in anymore. We do, but it's running in the background. So from here, what I want to do is we want to be able to see through these models. So I'm going to add a color, and the alpha value, I'm going to say put in 0.5. And we want to do the same with the two other ones as well. So I'm going to be clicking on both of these, and we change the alpha value to 0.5, because we want to see what is going on. And here, this one, we can give a color as well. I'll just make this red. All right. So from here, we're going to do a one-off transfer. And so that'll then transfer everything across. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, before we do this, I'm going to just delete the other one, this one here, or just close the eye. That should do it. So I'm going to select the teeth and the nerve and everything. And the reason why we do a one-off transfer is because while we're bringing in the implants and everything, it keeps on refreshing all the time. So it's a bit like a website. You keep on refreshing it, and we don't want large models and so on. And this is why we've deleted the segment when we first started away, because they're usually so very big. So we don't want it to keep on refreshing in 3D Slicer, because there's no need for it. So you got to make sure that your slicer link is open, which it is, and you can see the host and the port and so on. So you know it's open, and we know we've opened it here as well. So we're going to click on one-off transfer, and essentially this puts it into a new collection, and it prevents it from being selected. So you cannot select these models unless you want to select them. And there's a little arrow here if you do want to select them, but there's no need for the implant planning to select them. So in 3D Slicer, you should see them having been imported. Now, a good way is just to check that your model is indeed aligned to the CT scan, which it is. We can see it's a very neat and good alignment, so we don't need to struggle with that at all. All right, so this is critical. If this is wrong, then the guides is not going to work. So, all right. So now we can do the implant planning, and like I've said before, we do this in two stages. First, we want to put it into Blender, and the second stage is we're going to fine tune it in 3D Slicer. So you don't have to spend too much time with 3D Slicer. So okay, we're going to add import a tapered or import cylindrical. Now, recently I've added a few Medentika implants into so if you want those, you need to update the module. So import cylindrical, and this imports it. I'm going to again view it from the top view, and we're going to use the G key and the R key to do our initial where we would like it to be. So, which is not really the way it will be, but with Alt B, I'm going to look at the cross section, use the G and the R key, G and the R key, and yeah, we can see, oops, that's like way too long. And this one is a 13 millimeter. So, okay, let's make this, and I'm not an expert in placing implants, so if I do something wrong, please say something, But, okay, so we're going to do our initial placement, stay quite far away from the nerve. Let's try 10, 10. Yeah, so let's just be mindful where that is. And then what we're going to do is we can place another one. So just rotate this a little bit. And now I'm going to click on duplicate implant. So don't use the Shift D in Blender. That's the normal duplicate shortcut. It's not going to work. So duplicate implant. But when you click duplicate implant, by default, right now, it's going to bring in a conical implant. But we can change that. You can see it's changed to conical, but when I select it, I can just replace that with a cylindrical one, and then that's cylindrical, and it takes the same dimensions as well. So Alt B. Now the two implants are basically parallel as well. So I'll just have a quick look, inspect it. All right, so that's our first stage. So that's our first stage. The second stage is we're going to fine tune these. So are there any questions so far about this procedure or not?
Can you bring in your own implants, Michael?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can, and we've got the whole Medentica, is it, Wolfgang?
Yeah, Medentica's coming in probably next week. I'll have the analogs and the scan bodies, as well as the actual implants. So it's
Mhm.
something to look forward
So
to.
the difference is these are generic implants, which we can scale dimensions and so on. If you have your own implant library, you can still scale them or whatever, but the purpose is you selecting an implant with a catalog or whatever, and then you're putting it in there. And then if you want to replace it with a shorter one or whatever, it's a different way of looking at it. All right, so let's fine tune this. So again, like if you got two screens or you got a big screen, that's wonderful. I'm working on a laptop, so it's a bit of a struggle. All right.
Don't know how you do it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So okay. So I'm going to try and make some space here. All right. So um now let's just zoom out there. I'll just get rid of this one. And now using the shift key, you can quickly view each and moving the mouse, you'll get a cross section of all of them. So it's quite handy to have that. So we're going to just zoom in here, and now we're working on the molar. So the molar has been selected, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it. So I'm going to be using the X. The X is the red, so we can rotate this. So here we go. Let's just make this one a bit bigger so we can view what's going on. So we're going to rotate this, and then I'm going to use the arrow key, and we can see, oh, we may need something shorter. So I'm going to put 8 millimeters in here, and we're going to move this down a bit. And of course, at the same time, I want to see where it comes out of the crown, because we don't want it, it's a compromise between where it comes out as well. So let's make the implant, let's make it a bit wider. So 5, 5, and that depends on what type of implants you got. So, um, use these values, but remember X and Y always need to be the same because we don't get elongated or elliptical implants. So, okay, just for the purpose, we're just going to assume this is all right, and I'm going to be going shift and moving the mouse to this one. Select this one, and we can move it down a wee bit. And here we can see we can use a bit of a bigger, a longer implant. So let's just move it like this. So basically, all we're doing is we're fine tuning it, and I'll just move it. If I do make a mistake, I'm not a surgeon, so,
Michael,
so
just a
let's.
question. The safety zone, can you adjust that?
Yes, we can. So basically, what we do is we can delete the zone. So I'll just do an example. So at the moment in this Blender scene, we can't, for safety's sake, we can't select anything except for the implants. And I did this purposefully so that people don't get confused, or so nothing else can be selected. So but you just use you move it, and that's it. So if you want to adjust the safety zone, we're going to have to click on this arrow here. So this allows us now to select the safety zone, and then we can delete the zone. And then what we can do is we can create a new safety zone. Yeah, select it, create new safety zone, and then if you want it bigger, 2 millimeters, for example, accept that, and that will then accept it, and it'll bring it automatically into our 3D slicer as well. All right, so So assuming we've finished here, we then going to then forget about 3D slicer. It's basically for fine tuning. We're going to continue now. So on my list, let's just have a look on my list. We've marked a nerve, we've done the implant planning. Let's do the designing of the sleeves. So, okay, if there are any questions, please, I'll just have a drink quickly.
Yeah, I've got the message window here, so chat away if you want.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the next thing. We've done and dusted with this thing. There's a few other things that we can do in here. For example, we can create an angle. So in this premolar, for example, if you wanted to put an angled abutment, we can click on that to make an angle. And also note that we've got these little notches here, and that's because, you know, we can make sure that, you know, the flat edge of the implant is exactly on the buckle, so that when you order an angled abutment, we know for certain that it's going to be where it's supposed to be. All right, so we're going to now delete the, so we're going to go to the, close that down, create sleeves, and the first thing we're going to do is delete the zones. And to start, so delete zones and start. Please don't forget this because there's a whole string of script behind it. In this scene, once you've done that, you can't select, well, you can select, but you are meant to select your little cylinder, and that's going to be the equivalent of your drill. We're going to select and set the drill now. Click on that, select the drill, and we'll just put in 4 millimeters, say, for example. And now, in some implant system, you've got like a sliding a, a depth stop, and in some others you've got it fixed where you've got certain length drills. So if you've got a certain length drill, for example, you would then put your length in there. So I don't know what lengths you've got, so I'll just put an arbitrary figure, um, you know. So I'm not sure. So I'll just put. I think they're all a little bit different. So all right. So I've just put 18. Yeah. All right. So here what we're going to do is once we've done that, we're going to click sleeve to top. That moves the sleeve to the top. So basically what we're trying to do is we want to get the length from the top all the way to the bottom. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to click on drill clearance. Now that's like a thin layer around it so that the drill, there's not too much friction on the drill. So we've got it set to 0.1 millimeters. So when you're happy with that, you can adjust that accordingly. So, and then you apply this clearance, and then you trim, and we make a hole. So that's done and dusted for this one. That's fine. We're going to go to the next one. Select it. Select and set the drill. If you get lost, look at the toolbar at the bottom. So that will always help you if you get stuck. And then what we can do is we can also set this. We'll just put an arbitrary figure in there. It's something that you have to look up. Sleeve to top. And then what we're going to do is drill clearance, apply that, trim, and make hole. So these are our sleeves. All right. So yeah, I'll just go one step back. When it's highlighted, we can scale this. That's also important. Let me save this. File, save. We can scale these cylinders as well. So S to scale, and SZ. So the ideal length is between well, four is okay, but not longer than 6, because if you're
Just
using,
short of 6, yeah.
yeah,
Because we've got the Steco components, which are the cutting tool for those components. The metal guide sleeves are 6 millimeters. So you might just stay just short of 6 millimeters. Unless you don't
yeah.
use metal inserts, then you could probably go longer.
Yeah. All right. So we've done this. We've got fixation pins. I'm not sure whether I should discuss that now. I think we should just continue. We've got the video on that, and we've got, if you're importing cylinders from a different program, like Blue Sky BIOS or other ones, you can work with the cylinders here, or we can work with them at the bottom. There's another section here, and the other tools here with the edit imported rings. So we've got a tutorial on that as well. All right, so now we're ready to make the guide. So we're going to be closing the section as well. I will give it a bit more alpha value so we can actually see what is going on here. Yeah. So these two, I'll just click hide for now. Okay. So when we print models, we need an offset. Usually it's 0.2, or Wolfgang, how much do you use more or less for the offsets?
Yeah, 0.2 is good. If you're talking about the offset between a die and a model, like a removable die for crown and bridge work, then I'd use 0.185. But it depends on your printer and your calibration and all of those
You're
things.
milling. I
And
think milling
milling would
is more,
require probably less offset because it's so accurate.
yeah, it's like 6 microns or something, whereas
Mm,
printing is what, 50 microns or something.
mm. So
Yeah,
we try not to have a surface to surface fit at all. It's like a nut and a bolt system. Engineers call it engineering fit. We will always have an offset as a starting point. So you can set, if you want to set it to 0, which we don't recommend, just put a small value in there.
yeah. If you want metal inserts, we've got metal inserts in the component library. Actually, I can make one for a metal insert over here. Maybe that would be quite
Mm.
interesting. So we're going to go to the sticker library, and let's choose an MIS, and we'll go for a narrow, and let's append this into the scene. And then once this is appended into the scene, we're going to make sure we select this one first, and then we select our sleeve next. And this is very important to get this correct. This one first and this one next. And then in the guide module, there's like a little thingy here, select and place insert. Click on that, and that brings it in. So at this stage, we can still scale it, because if the wall thickness is too thin, you don't want that to happen. So we can scale this as well still.
Yeah.
And then once,
Mm.
yeah,
So sorry to butt in. So these are actually cutting tools for the guide sleeve. This is why they don't have a hole in it, and they don't really resemble the actual physical component. So basically, we're only using this gadget here as a means of creating the cavity in the sleeve.
yeah, yeah, that's correct. So once you've got that, we're going to then make a hole in it. So we're going to insert, we need a clearance around this. So again, this is set at 0.1 millimeters. We're going to apply this clearance, and then we're going to make the hole. So it gives us an option to remesh it. So it's very fine mesh, 0.03. The finer it is, the more accurate it's going to be. Make hole, and that will then make our hole, and we've got a beautiful hole for our metal insert to fit into. All
So
right, so that's just,
it is recessed or countersunk into the sleeve so that your drill stop is exactly in line with the upper area,
Yeah.
surface area of your plastic sleeve.
There's a lot of dental software which actually has the metal sleeve lie on top of it, and that will then increase it by 0.5 or whatever the thickness of the sleeve is. But we're trying to be scientifically as exact as what we can, and this is why we've actually recessed it. We've done lots of prints, and it seems to, they all seem to fit very well, so that's all good. All right, so we're going to move to the block art now, and we're going to be selecting our model, and in the block art we're going to name this lower, and we're going to create an offset around it, you can see, and we're going to apply this. I'm not going to spend much
Guys,
time. Sorry?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but very important questions regarding these sleeves. Are you going to import libraries from other companies such as Cortex or, I don't know, MIS or something like that, which is more available in my region?
Yes, that's correct. We are currently busy with the MIS. Actually, next week we should have the analog, the scan body, and the for making crown and bridge models, the implant models. We have the abutments,
But
but
that's
we
a
will
Medentika, Wolfgang.
Medentika.
I mean,
Yeah.
MIS, we haven't got the MIS. We've got the MIS from Steco, but not from the MIS company. No, we haven't got those yet. But Medentika, we've got all of the components.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are they equal for Cortex? Because the Cortex sleeve is shaped. Its upper shape is a hexagon shape.
Oh, yeah. We've got a few hexagon shapes in our Steco one.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all we need to do is perhaps Wolfgang, you can contact MIS. I don't know. We all we need to do is make cutters for your system, and then we're good to go. You know, you can use your system then. But some of the implant
Right.
companies are really difficult to work with, unfortunately.
Yeah,
We
that's right. I'll
we
be
do
glad to send
recommend.
them. I'll be glad to
Yeah.
send you their phone number, email contacts if you want.
Thank you. Yeah,
Because
thank you.
they're okay.
That
Okay.
would help. That would
Another
help.
question, Michael.
Yeah.
Can I make my own holes in the sleeve, or it's predetermined?
Um, the hole in the sleeve, we've made the hole in the sleeve when we've set the drill diameter. So, for example, if you've got like an MIS sleeve, for example, but some of them are like hexagonal and they've got anti-rotation, so that makes it a bit difficult. But if you've got an outside diameter, you would then set the drill diameter, when we did that earlier, to that specific diameter of your sleeve, and then it should fit
I
as well.
understand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. Okay, thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
All right. So with the block art, we've got our new model, the offset model. It's called offset, and we're going to now survey this. So we're going to get a bird's eye view of how we're going to insert this implant guide. So I'm looking at this specific section in general. So again, I'm not going to cover too much of the block art one, and then we're going to mark the lower undercuts. And once this gadget disappears, we can move the scene and we can see the lower undercuts. And then we've got a new feature here. I'm not going to click it now. It's auto default models, which makes all of the models in one go, which is like absolutely fantastic. But for implant guides, we need a passive model because we don't want it to engage anywhere. It just has to fit in nicely, snug fit, and that's it. We don't want to struggle. So we're going to create a passive model. So I may cut out, I don't know. Have I cut out yet?
No, it's all good.
All right, so we've just finished this model. Okay, am I online still?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, we've got, it makes 3 different models. We're going to not use this one. We're going to be using this specific one. So the reason why I'm deleting it, because we don't want Blender to slow down too much. So we always want it full speed ahead. All right, so this is our model we're going to be using. I'm going to go to the guide and we've got 2 choices. We can paint on a layer or we can create tubes. Now, I think the tubes one is hugely popular. So let's make a tube for now. We select a model and we call this target model. Very similar to the splint module. And we're going to shift right click to place our cursor and we're going to click draw tubes. That'll bring up our tube and we want it to wrap around this model. So we need to take this little dropper and we're going to click on the model and then we're going to use the E key to extrude. Now it is like semi-transparent and we can view through the model. So the offset is 2 millimeters. So if you can shift this accordingly. And also say, for example, you wanted to do an SLM metal one, for example, you can control A, you can make this thinner or thicker. So it's totally up to you how thick you want to make this thing. So this takes a little bit of learning to do. So be patient, and it's actually fun to do this. I thoroughly enjoy this. It's very therapeutic. So here we're going to, and don't worry about these tubes going into the sleeves. And this is why, while we were working on this, we've created our cutters. So it's a little bit, we want this to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to make it a bit thicker and I'm going to, so the ideal is just tissue, just touching the tissue so we can see where it touches. Up, I pressed something wrong. Okay, E to extrude. And then join the other side. And we can ideally now we need to make sure that we've got this. I'll just go in transparent view, we can actually see these vertices. I want to make sure that this actually does in fact collide with my so I want this to actually touch my sleeve, because otherwise we need it to join. I'll just bring it down like that. This one we can bring down like this a little bit. Yeah, that's looking really good. And of course you can extend this bigger, and you can join tubes onto tubes or tubes onto layers as well if you want to. Or you can make little rests as well. We've got this all covered in the videos. So let's assume this is okay. Well, actually, ideally, we don't want this to move anywhere, but so we can add more tubes and so on. Maybe we'll just, for fun, just add another tube here, extend it. Bring this across. F to fuse. And ideally, these should be like We want it in a relaxed state. I don't want to see this. This is no good, because we're always trying to get a nice clean mesh structure. So that's looking really nice. Once you've done that, we're going to click on Remesh Tube. And that'll make a new mesh of that. And we're going to accept this, the voxel thickness. Now, if I wanted to strengthen this, I can join from this side to that side if I want to with another tube. So it's 100% flexibility there. So from here, there's only basically one thing left to do, and is we want to clear away. We want to clear away this inside. So we're going to show the cutters, and these cutters have been made way back when we were designing the sleeves. So with the cutter, we're going to use the S key to scale, and you want to clear the space for the surgery site, but make sure you don't create any weaknesses anywhere. So I'm going to scale this somewhere like that. Yeah, like that. And then I'll select both of these, and we're going to click on Clear Guide. And this has made these cuts in the guide to clear this away. Last thing is we want to clear away the inside. So I'm going to show the cutters again. And this time, well, I'm going to hide this one. I don't want to see this one. On the inside, there are two other gray cutters. So we can scale this as well if we want to. And here with the Stecco one, you can see that this needs to be a bit bigger. So we have to accommodate for that as well. So, and remember, it's not going to cut your sleeve. It's going to cut the tube. So we'll select both of these, and we're going to click on Cut Holes and Guide. And voila, so that's perfect. Lastly, what we want to do is we want to make sure we get rid, we need a fitting surface. So cut fitting surface. Just wait for it, and so that's it. So this is our basically our finished guide, and you can then select it and export this guide if you want to. All right, so additionally to that, we can still make temporary crowns with this, and we can make holes in the actual model as well by clicking on Create Holes and Model. Just wait for it to do, and what it's doing, it's taking our cutters. Oh, that didn't do that for some. Oh, I should have selected it. So my fault. We've got this all in the video, so create holes in model. All right, so here we go. If I hide the guide, I've got my implants inside. I'll just hide these, and the length is exactly correct. So if you had to pre-plan surgery, you've got your model, you've got your guide, you can check the fit, you can put your drill through there, you can put your drill stop there if you want to. It's all done. All right, so we can still export this data if we want to. Make sure you save this in a specific directory. So it depends where you save this. So if I say, I'll just save this in Documents, Zoom, Save. So what I'll do is we're going to go and view the exports, and then we can export the drill lengths, the implant dimensions, and if we got angles, we can export those as well. So I'm going to have to just find those. Sorry. Okay. Wolfgang, maybe you can just take over for a second for any questions or whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm just open for checking the chat message. Yeah, there was one question, or actually, it's a great idea to extend your skeleton frame to go in between the guide sleeves as well for extra support. So you can just cross bar any way you like.
Okay, all right. I'll just have a, here we go. Draw lengths. Okay, my laptop is, here we go. All right. So here we got the implant dimensions. Oh gosh, now I'm stuck in a loop with this. We've got drill lengths and we've got implant dimensions, and you can save them, whatever. Oh gosh. All right. Okay. So yeah, and then there's only one thing. If you guys do want to make temporary crowns, that's also optional. If you wanted to, you can view these and you can click on this, and then we can name this temp. And but you can see the mesh here is a little bit far away, so I'd probably say we would just grab this, and we can rotate this. Make sure you've got this sort of, and scale this accordingly, something like that. And then we're going to select the implant, and we can connect it to the implant. There we go, that's connected. Looks a bit rough at the moment, but you can always sculpt or smooth it. It's not usually the case. It's only because this is how I've put the teeth in there, so, and then of course we can make a hole there, by scaling this, we can then make a hole. So as I said before, we could have maybe used an angle here or something, but I would then probably just grab this mesh a little bit out a bit so that we can actually make a hole going through it. So then let's grab this, put it through like that, and then we're going to click on make hole. And that's made a hole through our little unit there. And then of course if you wanted to print that, away you go. Good. I think that sort of completes everything. The only thing we haven't covered is the paint on layer, but we've got that. We've got this in the tutorial as well.
Michael, can you show us just an angle indicator, perhaps? Just aside from what you've done now, if you could you import an implant and just demonstrate that?
Yes. Okay. All right. So so in the guide, what we're going to do is we're going to import a tapered, something like that, and we're going to use the R key. So hypothetically, just say we're moving, just say the tooth is coming out like, maybe I'll just draw, maybe the tooth is like coming like this, something like that. All right, so now we need to put an angle there. So we're going to create an abutment angle, and then we're going to use the R key. Oh, okay, it's because it's not linked to 3D slicer, so it is locked. No, it's correct. I've just got it the wrong way. So you see where the notch is?
Yeah.
Let's just do this again. I'll just do this. Let's just view it. We'll just view it from the other side. So we'll just view it from the right-hand side, assuming that's the buckle side.
So
again,
can you explain the notch as well while you're at it?
yeah. So just say our tooth is like that somehow, hypothetically. So the notch would be, so in an implant you may have like a flat side, and then the abutments would then go away from one specific location of the implant body. The angles will all be going away from that specific location. So you can look on the implant and match the location with the buccal notch, and then as you're turning it down, the that specific face or the hex or whatever then faces that notch when you tap this implant in, and then we can then if once we click on the create angles, we can then rotate this accordingly. Yeah, so here, for example, I've set this to -18, just so you've got a -15-degree angle. It still comes out there like this, or you can, whatever angles are available to you, you would then set the angle, and then you would follow this entire procedure from there. So assuming you're doing the implant planning here, and the implant planning has then been finished, we would then go delete zones and start, and then we can from there on make our so just say we'll just put it 2 millimeters, and this say 20 or 22, just say you've got 22 millimeter drill. I'm going to apply that trim drill and make hole. So there we go. Now we've got this angle here, and then we can choose to make it temporary using this as a hole cutter, and we've got this in our tutorial as well, how to make a hole then using this specific tube. Then that would be then our hole cutter, and then we'd cut a hole through our crown. Good, I think that answers that.
There's a good question here. Can we add an extra circular cervical ring at the bottom of the crown? So is this something you've already got that in the model designer that you've hidden away? You've got an extra cervical a margin line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm just going to open up the mic.
Guys, what about abutments and tie bases?
Abutments. All right. So with the abutments, that's covered more. Not so much in the guide. We're going to use it for our crown and bridge work, so we can make bars and we can make, bridges and so on. So that's coming very soon, especially with the Medentica components.
Mm-hmm. Do you include also tie bases?
Yeah,
yes.
Wolfgang, we've got tie bases as well.
Yeah,
Yes?
we've got everything under the sun from Medentica. So abutments, angled abutments, tie bases, multi-unit, angled kinds of things. So for crown and bridge work, that's ideal. And yeah, well, Medentica have most brands of implants, all the known brands.
But as far as making models are concerned, we've got ELOS components as well. Sorry?
Can you publish the measurements of the abutments, measurements of the sleeves, and that you use? So can we adapt? We can adapt to that.
Okay. We've got them according to their order numbers. So if you look at the catalogs.
Okay, there's a lot of background noise here.
Yeah.
Not from my side.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
okay.
For someone else. So, for example, with the ELOS, just say the Noble from ELOS, to make models and so on, we've got a whole variety of components, and they're all ordered according to their specific numbers. So let's just move this to the side, and in transparent mode we can see we've got all these components on the inside, which we then use for our alignment. But in saying that, we don't have the entire basis for ELOS yet, as far as I know. But Medentica, we will have them, and I think Wolfgang, I think, is it Odontofix or Yenadent?
Yenadent. Yenadent has
Yenadent.
some, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we still, it's still growing, and hopefully we'll get all the components. I don't know if we can, but Wolfgang, you're going to be working overnight.
Well, the majority of them, I guess, the heading companies of the world.
Well, Camlog is in the process as well, and we have many people approaching us, which is good, but it takes time. These libraries are made up of hundreds of components, and each one of them has to be compiled. So we're working 24/7 on this, and I understand the urgency. The urgency is there, and we're very grateful to people who are supporting us.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll stop sharing my screen for a minute.
Super.
Good.
Great job, Michael.
I think everything went very smoothly, even though I'm on holiday. So maybe you can open up the microphones as well, so if people have any questions or anything. All right, so the one other thing I want to mention is that there's a lot of updates and developments and so on going. Always check the update log in the model designer, and we don't expect you to update every single day, but sometimes if there's a critical update, just we'll notify you on the log, on the update log. And there's
I'm
always
looking at the log right now. The last time it was updated was the 6th of September.
What's the date today?
Yeah. We're on the 15th, the 16th, sorry.
16th. Yeah, we've got sort of almost every day we've got a update on something. I had one on the guide designer yesterday. We've got some other people working with us, and they also have to update their link between Slicer and Blender, or the Simple Asset Manager has had an update recently, so that we can actually work with these people as well.
Yeah, so the components module has had an update. Previously, we had one download, everything was contained in one folder, but it's just outgrown that system. So each library has got its own installer now, and this is it's a better way to go. So you can you only need to pick what components you want. The ones you don't want, just leave those.
Yeah.
Just to make things clear, I guess that if you update the guide model, for example, you have two updates, one on the 16th and one on the 14th of this month. I guess if you update the one of the 16th, you cover it all, right?
Yes, that would cover it all. Yeah, and the reason for that is because the Simple Asset Manager, which houses our components, there was a problem in that, and that's come to my attention on the 14th or 15th, and that's been now addressed, and that's why there's another update. So yeah. But they're fully functional. It's not like something doesn't work. It's just, there's an improvement on the past. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like we maintain that if you need help with any installations, just, flick us a message, and via TeamViewer, it's just a matter of minutes to install that. And for those who've got practice in installing, it becomes very, very simple. And initially it's quite daunting, but it's almost, it's very easy to do.
I use you a lot, Wolfgang. I know.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of the 2.9 version of Blender. So
Yeah.
when you should be okay for that, stay alert for my contacts.
Look, there's no urgency. I don't see an urgency to upgrade to 2.9 because there's not that much that we can use additionally in our modules. So I would hold it off for now. You know, the people that are new, they've downloaded 2.9 and it didn't work. So, you know, it's working on both now, so which is fantastic, but there's no urgency. You know, it's hard work getting all of the modules and everything back into the system. So,
Yeah.
but again, if you need help, just give us a shout and we can link you up very quickly on our side. It's probably faster if we do it than when you do it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're always willing to help as well, except when we are fast
Yeah.
asleep on this side of the earth.
yeah. So there is another question. Well, basically, for making a guide, you need the CT scan, you need the scan, the intraoral scan, and you need components. Those are the only three things you need. From an outside point of view, but from the module point of view, you need the model designer, you need the guide designer, you need the ICP alignment tool, and you need the block art module. The components is only necessary if you want to use our parts or metal guide sleeves. So that's
Yeah.
optional.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right. I got a question regarding the guide. Yeah, I was thinking about it. How do you place a text on the tubes? Is it possible?
Well, it is, but when you're placing a text on anything, it'll change its name. So make sure that you would then change it back to that specific name. For example, I'll just show you. I'll just put you back onto my screen if I can. All right. So that's transparent. All right. So let's just get rid of this one. Delete all. Delete these components. All right. So it depends. I would do it right at the end, to be honest, because if you're doing it throughout the procedure in the outliner, there's a lot of things happening here. And if it's a wrong name, as I'm sure lots of us have discovered, it won't work. So I think finish it and then put your name and just go to the model designer, select your sleeve, and then go to your text.
It's text.
Yeah, you just look at your text here.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, add text. Yeah, first. Okay, I can't select it now at the moment. And that's a good tip. If you cannot select something, get to know your outliner window. So if there's something that you can't select, for example, you know that there's something there, all right? And then just add your text. Oh yeah, here. Okay, just say you've got a number of a part or something. Now, obviously, it's too big. We need to scale it down. Yeah, scale it down, and then just add text as normal, and then just engrave it if you want to. All right.
Well,
There's one other thing is, when the guide is finished, these are multiple objects in the guide. Don't do a Boolean function to try and join it, because when you're printing objects, you can have multiple objects together. So the meshes can be together and they print perfectly, and they will also mill perfectly. So if you start doing Boolean functions and unions and stuff, remember a face on a face will not join and it will not cut. So Boolean operations are useless if they're the objects are face on face. So just something to remember there.
Yeah. I'll tell you why I'm asking this, because I had a chance to work with surgical guides that came out from MIS and Cortex, almost the same. They have a, first of all, they're going full arch, okay? Even if they're doing the, for example, 4-6, 4-5, they're going with a guide, they go full arch for stability, I think. And they put there's a little plate where they print the patient name, the patient number, and the date.
Mm.
That's what I was thinking about earlier.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can just add text and engrave it. It's quick and
Yeah,
easy
right.
to do anyway. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay. Yep, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And of course, we've got instructors on our website as well, you know, for different languages. And, you know, I see one of our instructors is watching us. So hopefully,
two. One of them is
yeah,
left.
okay. Yeah, and you know they got way more experience in making guides than what I have, honestly. So yeah, anyway, excellent. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Okay. Thank you very
So,
much, guys. Happy
yeah,
holidays.
thanks.
Thank you for
Okay, thank you
joining,
so
and
much. Okay.
hope to see you again, maybe next Wednesday. We usually get into this pattern of doing Zoom sessions on a Wednesday. So
Yeah.
if you've got suggestions, if you want us to cover something, let us know, and then we'll cover it.
I think you both know that I'm eagerly expecting the crown and bridges and the orthodontic modules. So
Yeah,
for some reason you decided to put the orthodontic module last. So, okay, so
yeah, the wax up is just amazing, and we get a lot of questions. How do you do this, and how do you do that with the wax up? And it's become a real headache, and that's working outside of our modules. And you know, but that's in the pipeline, and that's together. The wax up comes first, and then the crown and bridge work comes after that, and that's looking very exciting because we can make inlays, onlays, veneers, crowns, bridges, implant crowns, so it covers a huge variety.
yeah, I guess it's for milling and printing.
Yeah, yeah, milling. We've done mostly milling, so you know, yeah.
Right.
Good. Okay. Signing off.
Very nice
Excellent.
meeting.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Okay. Bye.